Now Squaddies, let me tell you something. The minute that gorgeous new As Ever Blackberry loaf popped up on my feed, it was an instant hit. You see a stunning, delicious loaf covered in rich blackberry buttercream, and you just know it's pure perfection. Everything about it, from the presentation down to the last detail, just radiates warmth, elegance, and effortless charm. Because here's what's really going on. Meghan is doing what she does best, building a beautiful, authentic brand. It's another fantastic piece of content, another wonderful product to look forward to, and another lovely window into the world she's creating through As Ever. She is staying focused, inspired, and completely in her element. Focused on incredible food, focused on lifestyle and warmth, focused on joyful entertaining, focused on creating lovely things that bring people together. Instead of getting distracted by outside noise, Meghan simply puts out another gorgeous video, another mouth-watering recipe, another product, and another brilliant idea. That is the true mark of a successful entrepreneur. She stays in her own lane, creates with passion, and lets her amazing work speak for itself. At the end of the day, it all comes down to the people who love and support the vision. The real magic is in the connection. People loving the recipes, enjoying the presentation, feeling inspired by the creativity and coming back for more. She's building As Ever with intention and care, one beautiful product, one delicious recipe, and one joyful moment at a time. She's putting something fresh, vibrant, and delicious on the table. Literally. This Blackberry loaf isn't just a social media video, it's a brilliant piece of the bigger picture. Meghan is continuously expanding her vision, creating a lifestyle brand rooted in comfort, style, and positivity. She keeps building, keeps shining, and keeps bringing good energy to our feeds. So Squaddies, let's focus on the good stuff, celebrate the creativity, and enjoy the wonderful inspiration she continues to bring us. Now Squaddies, this is where I think we need to press pause on one of the laziest arguments about Meghan, because every time she launches something connected to food, lifestyle, or entertaining, somebody suddenly acts like Meghan woke up yesterday morning and thought, you know what, I fancy becoming a lifestyle entrepreneur. No, where have these people been? Meghan's interest in this world didn't start with As Ever. She was doing this kind of thing years ago with the TIG. Food, travel, fashion, beauty, restaurants, lifestyle, personal stories. The whole idea was about sharing the things she enjoyed and giving people a little window into her world. So when you see Meghan working on As Ever today, it's not exactly coming out of left field. She's not suddenly pretending to be interested in cooking because somebody handed her a business plan. This has been part of her interests for years, and that's why I find it funny when critics describe As Ever like it's some desperate attempt to invent a personality or manufacture a career. Come on, let's not rewrite history just because you don't like the person involved. Because there's a very obvious thread here. The TIG was Meghan exploring lifestyle content. Now As Ever gives her an opportunity to take those interests and build something much bigger around them. That's actually what growth looks like. You start with an interest, you experiment, you learn, you develop your voice, you figure out what people respond to. Then eventually you say, right, let me build something properly. That's normal. People do this every day. Someone loves baking, starts posting cakes online, gets a few customers, builds a following, opens a bakery. Someone loves fashion, starts a little page, learns the business, launches a collection. Someone loves fitness, starts making videos, builds an audience, creates a program. Nobody looks at them and says, exposed, you liked this thing before you turned it into a business. That's literally how businesses are born. So why should Meghan be treated differently? And I think there's another part people miss. With As Ever, Meghan has something she didn't have when she was working inside the royal family: freedom to shape the thing herself. She can decide what she wants to talk about. She can decide what products fit her vision. She can decide how she wants to present them. She can experiment. She can make mistakes. She can try something new. She doesn't have to squeeze every idea through a palace machine first. And honestly, Squaddies, that's the part I like. Because whether As Ever becomes huge or stays a smaller lifestyle brand, it's hers to build. That's the difference. She's not waiting for somebody in a palace office to tell her what she's allowed to be interested in. She's not waiting for a royal schedule to give her permission to create. She's taking something she genuinely enjoys and saying, let me see where I can take this. And that's how regular people build things too. You don't always start with some giant master plan. Sometimes you start with something you love. You keep going, you learn, you improve, and eventually that little interest becomes something real. So when critics ask, why is Meghan doing lifestyle? My answer is simple, because she's been interested in this world for years. The better question is, why are some people so determined to pretend she hasn't? Because Meghan didn't suddenly become Meghan when As Ever launched. As Ever is simply another chapter in something she started long before the palace ever entered the picture.
Now, Squaddies, this is where I think the Blackberry loaf gets really interesting because, let's be honest, Meghan isn't simply saying, here's a jar of blackberry spread, please buy it. That's not really how lifestyle branding works. She's showing you what that jar can become, and suddenly you've got this gorgeous loaf sitting there with that rich blackberry buttercream, the whole thing looking like it belongs in a Sunday morning magazine. And you're sitting there thinking, okay, I wasn't planning to bake today, but now I suddenly have plans. That's the trick. She's not just selling the ingredient, she's selling the feeling. That slow weekend morning, music playing, something baking in the oven, friends coming over, coffee on the table, maybe the kids running around. Nothing fancy, just one of those moments where you think, you know what, life is actually pretty good. That's what the presentation is trying to make you feel. And Squaddies, that's why people sometimes misunderstand lifestyle brands. You're not always buying because you desperately need another product. You might already have jam at home. Nobody is waking up screaming, Miles, call the police, I'm out of blackberry spread. No, you're buying because the brand has made you imagine something. You see that loaf and think, I could make that. You picture it on your own kitchen table. You imagine serving it to your family. You imagine having friends over and putting that beautiful cake down. That's the emotional side of selling. And Meghan clearly understands that. Look at the way everything comes together, the loaf, the frosting, the colours, the lighting, the way the product is presented, even the language around it. It's not screaming at you. It's not, buy this now or your life is over. It's much softer. Here's an idea. Here's something beautiful you can create. And that's actually clever because you're not just being told what to purchase, you're being shown what you could do with it. That's a huge difference. And honestly, that's what makes As Ever interesting to me. Meghan is taking something completely ordinary, a spread, and giving people a reason to look at it differently. That's what good branding does. It takes something sitting on a supermarket shelf and gives it a story. And regular people understand this. Think about your favorite restaurant. You could technically cook the same meal at home for less money, but sometimes you don't want to. You want the atmosphere, you want the presentation, you want the experience. You want somebody else to make it feel special. That's what lifestyle businesses are selling. A little inspiration, a little escape, a little, I could live like this. And whether somebody chooses to buy Meghan's product is completely up to them. But let's not pretend there's nothing happening here. That blackberry loaf isn't just a cake sitting on a screen. It's an invitation. Here's what you could create with this. And that's much smarter than simply holding up a jar and shouting, buy my jam. Meghan isn't just selling what's inside the jar. She's selling the possibility of what happens after you open it.
And Squaddies, this is where I want to bring the whole thing home. Because we've talked about the Blackberry loaf. We've talked about As Ever. We've talked about Meghan's interest in food and lifestyle. But underneath all of that is something much bigger. Meghan is building something without the palace. Think about that for a second. No palace schedule telling her what to do, no royal engagement team arranging the next appearance, no official royal machinery behind the scenes, no William, no Kate, no Buckingham Palace press office standing there saying, right, Meghan, here's what you're allowed to say today. It's Meghan, her team, her ideas, and the people who actually want to follow what she's creating. And that's why I think As Ever matters. Not because a Blackberry loaf is going to change the world. It's because it represents freedom. She gets to take something she's genuinely interested in and build it into something of her own. That's what millions of ordinary people try to do every single day. You have an idea, you start small, you put yourself out there, people criticize you, some people support you, some people laugh, and you keep going anyway. That's business, that's life. And Meghan has been doing exactly that under a microscope most ordinary entrepreneurs will never experience. Imagine launching a small business and having people across the world analyzing every photograph, every caption, every product, and every outfit. I'd be finished by Tuesday, but Meghan keeps going. And here's the irony I can't ignore. For years, some critics wanted her away from the royal family. They wanted her out of the royal spotlight. They wanted her to disappear. Well, she left, she built another life, she started creating outside the institution, and somehow those same people still can't stop talking about her. You wanted her out of the royal story? Congratulations, she's writing her own story now, and you are still watching. That's the part that makes me laugh. Because Meghan doesn't need William to approve As Ever. She doesn't need the palace to endorse her recipes. She doesn't need royal permission to create a lifestyle brand. She doesn't need a palace balcony to prove that she has an audience. She just needs to keep doing the work. And that's the real flex. Not shouting, not arguing, not responding to every critic. Building.
One recipe, one product, one idea, one customer at a time. So when the critics start screaming about another MEGHAN project, another baking video, another as ever release, let them talk, because while they're talking, she's building. And eventually, that's what matters. MEGHAN doesn't need the palace to tell her she's capable. She doesn't need royal approval to validate her ambitions. She just needs the freedom to build, and she's already doing exactly that. And Squaddies, if that's what independence looks like, let her cook. Literally. Thanks for watching, Squaddies, and remember, while the critics are still arguing about MEGHAN's Blackberry loaf, MEGHAN is busy baking the next move. I am your host, Miles. Like, share, subscribe, join the membership, and I'll catch you in the next episode. God bless you all, and have a blessed week ahead.